Oh, Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jai Nityananda. Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jai Nityananda. Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai. Now I can choose from a number of verses. Do we know which one it is? Or 205. Okay, I got it. Yeah, until we end somewhere. Reading from the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Lila, chapter 4. Text 205. Mat guna sruti matrena Mayi sarva guhashaye Manogatira vichena Yata gangam basumbudo. Amazing, it just continues with the Ganges. It's fair out. Mat of me, Guna of the qualities, Sruti matrena only by hearing, Mayi to me, Sarvaguha in all hearts, Ashaye who am situated, Manahagati the movement of the mind, Avichina unobstructed, Yata just as, Ganga Ambasha of the celestial waters of the Ganges, Ambudo to the ocean. Translation. Just as the celestial waters of the Ganges flow unobstructed into the ocean, so when my devotees simply hear of me, their minds come to me, who resides in the hearts of all. Okay. Text 206. Laksanam bhakti yogasya nirgunasya yudaritam aitikiya vyavahita yabhakti purushottame. These are the characteristics of transcendental loving service to Purushottam, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is causeless and it cannot be obstructed in any way. Text 207. Salokya sarsti sarupya samipya gatpamapyuta diyamanam nagrihan grinanti vinamatsevanam janaha. My devotees do not accept salokya sarsti sarupya samipya or oneness with me, even if I offer these liberations in preference to serving me. These three verses from Srimad Bhagavatam 329, 11 to 13, were spoken by Lord Krishna in the form of Kapila Dev. So, Salokya, attaining the same planet as the Lord. Sarsti, the same opulence as the Lord. Sarupya, the same form as the Lord, and samipya, attaining is intimate association. These are four types of liberation. And then the last one, kaivalya. Kaivalya, to become one with the Supreme Lord. That is never acceptable to the devotees, because the idea of becoming one with the Supreme Lord, or an impersonal realization, means no more. Then we become Mayavadis, and Mayavadis are known as Mayavadis because they say Golok Vrindavan is Maya, Krishna is Maya, and devotional service is Maya. All these three are illusions. So that's what we live for. Right? That's it. That's no more. Then one may as well be dead. Therefore, sometimes impersonalism is considered like spiritual suicide, because there's nothing left. No juice left. But the attractive part of it is it's giving relief from material suffering. Right? So sometimes when we are in pain, we want a pill, just some pill that just like instant relief. Right? So this impersonalism is a reaction to material suffering, and in desiring relief, and that becomes everything. It's like, I don't care about anything as long as I get relief from this. When the pain is intense, then one's whole consciousness goes into pain. Then that's it. Who are you? I am pain. That's it. Nothing else. That's when the pill becomes very desirable. So therefore, that is one of the attractions of impersonalism, that we can get relief from material suffering. Another attraction from, of course, this impersonal realization is that we can develop a concept that we are God. And, so sometimes it is said that although the impersonalists are trying to lose their sense of ego and just merge into Brahman, in fact, they're not losing ego, they are getting the biggest ego. Because what is a bigger ego or bigger false ego than to think I'm God? So while they think they're losing ego, they actually have what Carl Jung would call a swollen ego. Yes, so it's interesting. Text 208. Matseveya pratitang te salokyadi chatustayam nechanti seveya purna kuto nyatkala viplutam. My devotees, having fulfilled their desires by serving me, do not accept the four kinds of salvation that are easily earned by such service. Why then should they accept any pleasures that are lost in the course of time? Purport. This verse from Srimad Bhagavatam 9.467 was spoken by the Lord in connection with the characteristics of Maharaj Ambarish. Merging into the existence of the Absolute is as temporary as living in the celestial kingdom. Both of them are controlled by time. Neither position is permanent. As the poet Vidyapati said, Kota Chatra Nana Mara Mara Jivati. How many four-headed Lord Brahmas have appeared and have gone? Now, Lord Brahma lives a rather long time compared to us. Nonetheless, the poet Vidyapati is pointing out, even the life of Lord Brahma is just temporary. The life of the demigods is compared to bubbles in the ocean, just in the water, boom, 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 gone. Although one day of the time of the demigods is the same as 6 months of our time. So have a very long life and full of pleasure. So, but no, we are not interested. We are not interested. Because even in the heavenly planets, although there is so much enjoyment, one is never fulfilled. One is never fulfilled. So yes, enjoy, yes, we can enjoy, but fulfillment is something else. And that's something, when we are enjoying, we forget. We think, oh, this is wonderful, this is wonderful. But the truth of the matter is that this is temporary. So how is it wonderful? Come to my party, come to my party. You can have anything you want, whatever you desire. It will be there. Please come. There's only one thing. At the end, we shoot you in the head. It's death. It ends with death. That's the material world. Right? Trying to have a party, and you can have a great party, maybe. It's not always what you think it would be, but at the end, death. That's a complication, indeed. So it doesn't make sense. And then we know that it's not only about enjoying and enjoying until you die, at least not on this middle planetary system. There's enough suffering on the way as well. And then in heavenly planets, the enjoyment increases, the suffering decreases, but then at the end, as the punya runs out, then one falls down again. So we leave that for what it is. Just as in this chapter, we're actually discussing the love of the gopis and Srimati Radharani. And it is an amazing chapter because in this Adi Lila chapter 4, we are discussing how Srimati Radharani, how her love for Krishna is eternally increasing, embracing more and more qualities of Krishna. Each time she finds a new quality of Krishna, she loves that quality also. And in this way, her love is eternally increasing. And this is the nature of devotional service, that little by little we're discovering Krishna and his qualities. And it's nice. Like today we're looking at Madan Mohan, and he is dressed really very nicely. His garland is sort of swung to one side. It kind of looks attractive. We can appreciate. And yes, we can appreciate the qualities of Krishna. And as we are going deeper and deeper, we find more and more, and will appreciate more and more. This is bhakti. And that is the journey, and that is the transcendental adventure. That newer and newer tastes will come, and we will not know what they'll be. So it's not all predictable. This is what you'll attain. Practice bhakti yoga for 3 months and you'll get to stage 1, then another 6 months in stage 2, and then after 3 years you'll graduate and or chant 1,000,000 names and you'll be enlightened. No, nothing like that. It's not a mechanical process. Rather, it is a process of Nityasiddha Krishna Prem, Sadhika Bunai, Shravanadi Sutta Chitta Karya Udai, of awakening our love. Right? The impersonalists, they also sometimes speak about love, and they particularly focus on the sentiment, of like love, and that love is all-pervading, and that is like a love that includes everything. Okay, but loving everything is just not happening all at once, and then I loved everything. No, you have to actually love every little thing. every little thing, every big thing. You have to actually love it. It's like, like I love my chadar, nice and spiffy. I love so many things. I love little things. I love big things. So when everything becomes connected to Krishna, then everything becomes a source of actual love. You see, that's it. Nirbandha Krishna Sambandha Yukta Vairagyam Uchate. We have to connect everything with Krishna. And if we connect it with Krishna, it becomes a source of love. If we look at the thing itself and we develop some love for some things and some hate for other things, right? And something in between, just gray, right? But in connection, whatever is connected with Krishna becomes a source of love. Just for the cowherd boys, the things of the forest are the most valuable, more valuable than the jewels that their relatives decorate them with, because that's the place where they connect with Krishna intimately. So anything from that forest, that is worth everything. So in this way, we can see how the love of Srimati Radharani is constructed out of individual things, individual qualities of Krishna that she loves, and individual dealings with Krishna, individual moments, and all these things fill her with love. That is needed, not just some sort of impersonal sense of love. No, a love that is just awakened more and more and more. And our capacity to love increases as we become more and more attached. Just like there is that famous Purusha-traya verse where it is said that Srimati Radharani had become simultaneously in love with three personalities. First, she heard she remembered Krishna from previous experience, and her feelings of separation are very strong. In the course of wandering in the forest with kumkum, she wrote the name Krishna on a leaf. She took some of the kumkum powder and just wrote Krishna on a leaf. Later, Krishna, who was also in separation, was wandering in that forest and found that name Krishna. And he could immediately understand who wrote that. And in response to that, he felt just ecstatic love pouring from his heart, and he picked up his flute and played. When Srimati Radharani heard that sound, then then her love became even stronger. I didn't tell it completely right, because actually it's like this. She had remembrance of the love. Then Vishaka decided to draw a picture to relieve the separation. She drew a picture of Krishna. Then instead of the separation getting better, it got worse, because now she was attached to the person she remembered, and she was attached to the picture. Then when the flute sound came, she was attached to the flute player as well. She said, therefore, I'm to be condemned. I've become attached to three personalities all at once, and therefore I'd better die. Then Vishaka said, no, it's one and the same. And Radharani said, one and the same? One and the same personality? because she became separately attached to all these different aspects of Krishna. This is how the love of a devotee is constructed, with like attached to so many things. Oh, there is that one melody, right? Just that one, that like really like pierces your heart and makes your head spin, that one. Oh, gosh. There's the picture. Not just a picture of Krishna, of course, we all have pictures of Krishna, but then some pictures, they just speak to you, right? It's just like some pictures, just like those pictures are on your wall. Yes, it is like the density, the intensity of the attachment is just very strong. Oh yes, the gopis, they saw Krishna in Kurukshetra. Oh, and they were so happy. But when they saw Krishna as a prince in Kurukshetra, that was not the picture that they were attached to. They wanted the cowherd boy in Vrindavan. That was the one. That was where their love could really blossom. That's where it could fully manifest in this way. Kamagandhina swabhavika gopi prem nirmala uchvala sudiyena duktahem. The natural love of the gopis is devoid of any trace of lust. It is faultless, bright, and pure like molten gold. There is no lust, there is no selfish desire. Atmendriya pritivanchatara boligam krishnendriya pritiyachadara premanam. Atmendriya, my senses, for me, that's lust. Oh, I love you so much. Please satisfy my desires. Lust. No. Krishnendriya pritiyachadara premanam. The gopis wanted to satisfy the desires of Krishna only. Everything they did to satisfy the desires of Krishna only. Krishna's happiness is our happiness. Nothing else. They wanted only that. Krishna's happiness. Yes. So that is something extraordinary. That is the gopis' love. It is very, very pure. There's an interesting moment, and that is the moment that Akrura comes. And that Akrura, the cruel one, somehow or other takes Krishna and Balaram on the chariot, and at that moment, somehow or other, Krishna and Balaram are smiling, whereas everyone in Vrindavan is devastated. Devastated. This is not happening. It is happening. It's a nightmare. This cannot happen. But it does happen. No, it will not happen. We will stop the chariot to go. Yes, but then everyone will know anyway what to do. It's an emergency. We must take action. And they did. And they all came and just grabbed the reins of the chariot and started to try to stop the chariot. Now, the philosopher is observing all of this, and the philosopher says, what is happening here? These gopis are supposed to be 100% focused on pleasing Krishna, fulfilling his desire, Krishnendriya. They're supposed to be Krishnendriya. Then, if they are Krishnendriya, then why did they try to stop Krishna if he wants to go? Why didn't they dance in front of the chariot? We're going to Mathura, and throw flowers the whole way. If Krishna wants to go to Mathura, then why were they trying to stop him? Was there some selfish desire after all? Oh, don't leave us. How to understand this? Well, no. There was no trace of selfish desire there. There was no self-interest. When they tried to stop Krishna, they realized, look at Krishna. He stands there on this chariot. He is smiling and he is leaving Vrindavan. He's gone mad. He doesn't understand his own self-interest anymore. He doesn't realize that as he goes out of Vrindavan that he'll suffer. The only place where he can be happy is Vrindavan. We cannot let him go. No way. So still their only interest was the happiness of Krishna. The only. Yes. The natural love of the gopis is devoid of any trace of lust. It is faultless, bright and pure like molten gold. Krishnera sahaja guru bandhava preyasi gopikayana priya sishya sakhidashi. The gopis are the helpers, teachers, friends, wives, dear disciples, confidants, and serving maids of Lord Krishna. I really like that picture where the gopis take the shape of an elephant, I'm sure you know the picture. And some become the legs and some become... Because Krishna wanted to ride an elephant in Vrindavan, only cows, there was no elephant. But Krishna wanted it. Oh yes. So, Kunjara lila. The Kunjara lila, they became an elephant. Oh yes. Whatever he desires, we will be. If he desires an elephant, we will be an elephant. Because we are the helpers. Yes, we are the helpers. Oh, sometimes this cowherd boy is so arrogant, really. He is so arrogant, he thinks that he is the Lord of Vrindavan, whereas we know very well who is in control in Vrindavan. Yes. So we will catch him and capture him and make him bow down before the queen of Vrindavan. Oh yes, we will. And he will submit. And so Krishna was begging, please, to be accepted. And the minister, Lalita, was standing there next to the queen and saying, don't trust him. Don't trust him, Anyway, then Krishna made some politics and somehow or other hid his flute in the clothes of the gopis and accused them of stealing. So all these things, and then of course a search was done for the flute, and the flute was found in the dress of the prime minister. Just see. Such things are going on in Vrindavan, and sometimes Radharani is in control, sometimes Krishna is in control. That competition is going on. I really enjoy taking darshans in Vrindavan and looking at the different deities. For example, when we go to the Radhagokulananda temple, there we have the deities of Baladev Vijayabhusan. And these deities of Baladev Vijayabhusan are known as Vijay Govinda, victorious Govinda. Oh yes, he is victorious, there is no doubt. He has these conch shell eyes and he has like big red rings around the eyes and his head is a little tilted and he looks extremely piercing. And Srimati Radharani, she is like, I don't know if it's Astadhatu or what, but it is some golden metal. And she stands there and she looks completely like dazed, She looks dazed, just like totally overwhelmed by this Krishna who looks very powerful and hypnotic. Other times we see how Radharani looks extremely beautiful and is just taking the attention. Sometimes it's not clear, like in our temple, Radha Shama Sundar, we can see that they're equal. Who is the most beautiful? Well, when you look at Radha Shama Sundar, is it Radharani or is it Shama Sundar? I can't make up my mind for so many years, because these are also, this is the temple where I joined. This is the temple. These are the deities that I served. So, I once was in Spain, and there I met the vice president of the Delhi temple, and his name was Mahamantra. And Mahamantra, I knew him well, of course, because I'm from Vrindavan. It's only next door. And I also knew that Mahamantra was a lawyer by profession. So they asked us to do a Sunday feast lecture together. So I decided to turn it into a debate, since he was a lawyer and they like to argue. That's what. So the question I asked then was to Mahamantra, was which deity is the most beautiful, Radha Shama Sundar or Radha Parthasarathi in Delhi? So Mahamantra said, well, he said, of course, Krishna in Vrindavan is very, very beautiful, undoubtedly. But I knew there was going to be a but. Yeah. But let us just consider that when Krishna leaves Vrindavan to deliver all these people in Kurukshetra, just see his beauty. Just see the beauty of his heart. He said, therefore, Sisi Radha Parthasarathi are more beautiful than Radha Shama Sundar. Well, he gave me a good run for my money, as they say. Well, I rolled up my sleeves, right? And I said, yes. But then when Krishna leaves Vrindavan and he is giving the mercy to all, then ultimately that brings them all back to Vrindavan. And there they are with Krishna in his eternal pastimes. And there is the homecoming, and that's really where we eternally are. So yes, therefore, I think they manifest their most beautiful form at home, so that we can eternally just be touched by their unlimited qualities. Anyway, we went up and down, and because he was good, he didn't give up, and I'm stubborn because I'm Dutch, so I also didn't give up. So our debate was carrying on. But in the end, we had an out-of-court settlement, As often goes when a court cases drag on, you come to an out-of-court settlement. And we had an out-of-court settlement. And we finally agreed that the deity that is the most beautiful deity is the deity that you have served. That is the most beautiful deity. And so the gopis are always absorbed in serving Krishna. They are the helpers, fulfilling his desire, whatever he wishes, assisting him, providing everything, arranging everything, making beautiful kunjas. We know that when we go to Radha Kund, that there's a lot more than meets the eye of the ordinary beholder. We know that we see a certain Radha Kund, but we also know that in the Govinda Lilamrita, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami sees another Radha Kund. He sees 4 jeweled swings on the corner. I never saw. He sees a beautiful jeweled palace in the middle of Radha Kund with a bridge of gold and jewels and precious metal right there. I mean, we were looking, didn't see any palace actually. Still, it was amazing, whatever we did see. So, and the gopis are maintaining these groves, these kunjas, nice arrangements with trees and bushes and flower vines and marble floors and seats of onyx and this and that. And the different kunjas have a different color. Like it is mentioned that Champakalata, her body is transcendental and has a golden color. And her kunja also, everything is yellow there, yellow and golden. And she makes beautiful arrangements. The gopis are preparing everything. They sweep the floor with their hair. Actually, they untie their hair. It must be very long to sweep the floor with the hair. And they sweep the floor of these kunjas with their hair. Then there is a beautiful throne with wonderful silken cushions and bolster pillows, and of course there is tambula, and there is sweet scented water, and there are all kinds of arrangements, little snacks and some sweets and some this and some that. Everything is ready. And on the full moon night, Radha and Krishna sit on that throne. But because everything is golden and yellow, and at that time, Radharani is dressed in a golden dress, and she's already golden, and the background is golden, and then if you look, it looks as if Krishna is sitting alone on that throne. It looks like that, as if he's not there. Or as he's not there, sorry, as if he's alone. So in this way, the gopis who are the helpers and who are making all the arrangements are trying to arrange so that Radha and Krishna can meet, although their relationship is one of parakiya ras, a relationship of stolen moments, a forbidden love. Stolen moments is so difficult to actually meet. When we read some of these Goswami literatures about Radha and Krishna, they try to meet, and then something happens again, some obstacle. Then Jyotila, the mother-in-law, comes, or Abhimanyu comes, or something. Something comes to disturb the whole thing. Meetings are rare. It is the anticipation that is more important than the meeting itself. Because in the anticipation, that is where the love just blossoms fresh with greater heights. Sahaja Guruvasisya Bhujishya Bandhavastriya Satyam vadami te parta gopya kim me bhavantina. O Partha, I speak to you the truth. The gopis are my helpers, teachers, disciples, servants, friends, and consorts. I do not know what they're not to me. This is a verse from the Gopi Premamrita. As far as teachers, we also have from the Govinda Lilamrita. Where is Krishna? Oh, he is on the banks of the Yamuna. Oh, what is he doing there? He is learning to dance. Oh, who is his teacher? Oh, it is Srimati Radharani, who is making various moves, and Krishna is very carefully following behind, following every movement that she makes. So in this way, Krishna is completely controlled by Srimati Radharani, by the gopis, purchased by them. They can make him do whatever they desire. And that is his desire. That is his desire. It is not only that they are only fulfilling Krishna's desire. No, Krishna's desire is to fulfill their desire. So in this way, these loving exchanges are amazing. We who are, so deeply conditioned and are so much on the bodily platform and are so much identifying with these gross material forms, are we uncivilized creatures, right, are somehow or other allowed glimpses of this transcendental reality. Hearing about these amazing pastimes of Vrindavan is sweet, and hearing about the nature of love, and it is appealing. At the same time, we also realize that we don't have such love. Yes, we love when everything goes well. We love Krishna consciousness a lot, serving Krishna a lot in the middle of a wonderful festival with lovely prasad and we're having a great time. But we don't. So on Sunday we love Krishna more than on Monday, when there's the Sunday feast and all the festival. Monday is like, oh, today Monday I have to chant my rounds and it is difficult. I was so tired today. I couldn't move this morning. I was paralyzed. Suffering from paralysis, I was not able to do anything. Now it is already 12 o'clock and I have 0 rounds and 2 left from yesterday. Oh, help! Help! Right, panic. I'm in a total panic. How can I chant these rounds now? This is our normal situation in the morning. Before we start our 16 rounds, there is the panic. I have to chant 16 rounds. That's a lot. But somehow or other, then say, well, let me make a start. And okay, we go. 6 rounds done. Time for my morning tea. Gosh, Phew. I did the 6. That's a good start. All right. A little snack to keep the energies going. And all right, let's do the second 4. Rum, rum, rum. 7 o'clock. Okay, I've got them. 10 rounds. That's pretty good. Pretty good. I think, well, do I really have to chant any more now in the morning, or can I just check my mail? So yeah, and so on and so on. I don't have to prolong this dramatic performance. But this is the situation. We are with all of that, and in between all of that, we're discussing about the gopis and their pastimes. And it's like, so obviously, it's amazing how we have been given this by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and how we're getting actually some taste. It's amazing that we're actually, are actually appreciating all these things. But it is just amazing. It is amazing. And it is wonderful to hear about what real love is all about. And it gives us hope that maybe one day we can also get there. So this keeps us going. This keeps us going, and every morning we start up our japa engine again to chant the holy name, and we pray that by effort and by mercy we may one day enter into the eternal pastimes of the Lord. So this is Adi Lila chapter 4. And this Adi Lila chapter 4 is giving us the internal reason for the appearance of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, explains the depth of the love of the gopis, and how Lord Chaitanya, how Krishna himself wants to taste that love. And then appears as Lord Chaitanya. That is there. In Adi Lila chapter 8, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur gives an interesting explanation where he explains that we are worshipping both, not just one, not just Gauranga, not just Lord Chaitanya or the Panchatattva, and to the exclusion of Krishna, and not just Krishna to the exclusion of Lord Chaitanya. When we turn to Lord Chaitanya and we see the ecstatic dancing and chanting of Lord Chaitanya, then the object of Lord Chaitanya's dancing and chanting is Krishna and his pastimes in Vrindavan and so on. So in this way, through the ecstatic dancing and chanting of Lord Chaitanya, we come to Vrindavan. Right? But then when in Vrindavan, we hit the wall, we hit the limits of our love. When we hit the limits of our love, we turn again to Lord Chaitanya. And that is how it works. That is how we can actually approach Vrindavan. If we are only going into Vrindavan and here we are, oh Madan Mohan, Vrindavan, and then someone said, like, in one Bhagavatam class, someone asked the question, is it okay when we are beginning to develop a desire to be a gopi, that we sometimes think of ourselves as a gopi? Yeah, I can't say that it's not okay, but at the same time, how far can you go with that? Right? How far can you go with that? I mean, it's one thing seeing yourself as a gopi. And making some tambula and putting it on a beautiful golden plate and offering it to Krishna. If I take my imagination that far, maybe that's okay. But then I read in some of these books that sometimes Krishna just comes and scratches the breasts of the gopis with his nails. Now, if I start imagining that, then what's going to happen next? I mean, then maybe that's a bit too much for me. So maybe it's premature if I start to think of myself too much as a gopi. I might get caught out there, not by Krishna, but by my lusty desires. So in this way, we approach it a little bit, some reservation, some care. Don't go too far. with this, because as soon as we start to meditate on the pastimes of Krishna, then where are we? Right? Then where are we? Are we only observers or are we participants? And it's exciting if we go into the lila as participants. Oh, yes, it is. But as you just see, I'm writing a novel that is never finished. What can I say? I'm sorry for that. I'm like a slow writer. But in that novel is a story about some people from New York. Anyway, let's keep that short. That I meet, and after a long story, they come to Vrindavan. I bring them to Vrindavan, and they're in Vrindavan. I'm sharing Vrindavan with them. So I'm showing them Vrindavan a little, but I'm not only sharing the places like a tour guide, and today we are going to such and such Kunj, no, and this is the story. No, I'm also giving them the internal experience of Vrindavan as much as I know it, right? As much as I can. So at one point in the book, we are at Kadamba. Such a nice place. Krishna used to sit there in the Kadamba tree, and Krishna used to sit there with his japamala made of jewels and count the cows, the leaders of each herd, and he has 108 herds, and he's counting the cows there, sitting in the evening. And that's Krishna's japa, chanting the names of each of his cows. So it's just so nice that Krishna's chanting the name of the cows there on his mala, Kadamba. And this place, Kadamba, is also the place where Rupa Goswami sat down and was writing the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Right? So, Kadamba, So I took them in the book to Kadamba, and there we were. And then it was already afternoon and sort of late afternoon. And I was just telling them how Krishna, around that same time, would sit in that tree and would count the cows on the beats and chant the names of the leaders of the groups of cows. And I said, yes. And this is then, because this is the time that Krishna is returning to Vrindavan, right? In the evening. And I said, in Prabhupada's house in Vrindavan, we have a beautiful painting of Krishna and Balaram returning in the evening. And then I said, you know what? Let's just step into the painting. And we stepped into the painting. And there we were. And yes, we saw everything. We saw this white river of cows just coming into Vrindavan. We saw Krishna and Balaram. We saw all the eyes on Vrindavan. We saw that the peacocks couldn't dance. They stood there frozen in ecstasy. But the parrots, the green parrots, they were dancing in the sky. And as we were sitting there at Kadamba, the green parrots were also dancing in the sky and doing somersaults. Yes, we saw all these things. We saw Nanda and Yasoda standing there on the pathway, quite up front, very eager to embrace Krishna and Balaram. We saw all these things. Yes. Anyway, and then we got out of the painting also. We couldn't stay yet in that painting. But sometimes in our meditation, we can go into the pastimes of Krishna as an observer. And then we go back to our state as a sadhaka, to become deeper in our love for Krishna. And we just go back to our devotional service. And we may not sweep the floor with our hair, we just sweep it with a broom or a mop or whatever it is. Same thing. What's the difference? In this way, really, Krishna has already accepted us, and we're already serving him like helpers, just like the gopis, like servants already started right here. We are already in Goloka Dham. Thank you very much. Any questions or comments now?
Maharaj, at the beginning you mentioned these 4 kinds of liberation.
Yeah.
I was wondering that one of this was translated as to become an intimate associate of the Lord.
Yes.
On the other side, it said that the devotee is not interested in the
Yes.
liberation.
Yes.
Isn't it that we are looking for to become
No.
No?
Well, it just means that we have no desire to change our current situation when we are in an advanced stage. When a devotee is in an advanced stage, like Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says in his Siksastikam, then he comes to the stage of Janmani Janmanisvare Bhavatat Bhakti Rahaitiki Tvai. Let me just take birth after birth in this material world and be your servant. So when it says that we have no desire for this liberations, it refers to that Janmani Janmanishvare, to that desire to just simply serve Krishna and say it's already okay where we are. It's not that we are in this horrible material world, but we're faithfully serving Krishna and praying that finally one day we can go back to Godhead. No, that is the early stage of devotional service, conditioned stage. But in the Jivan Mukta stage, then we can be, then it's all right. Everything. It says for the Prema Bhakta, there's no obstacle in the material world. So that's what it's referring to. That when we come to Krishna praying, that Janmani, Janmanisvare, birth after birth in the material world is good enough. But then Krishna, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta also said that, but Krishna knows the heart of his devotee. And Krishna knows that in the heart of hearts, whatever that is, the heart of hearts, right? So that's in the deep core of our being, the devotee has a desire to be with Krishna. And so he takes them back to Godhead anyway and gives them liberation anyway, even if they are Janmani, Janmanisvare. So, we look at it from these 2 aspects, these 2 angles. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Krishna. You mentioned that there are 2 possibilities, either to be like the observer of the Lilas, and on the other hand, people who try to be a gopi or participant in the Lilas. And I was wondering, in my experience, is there not only also middle way? I mean, when I enter these Lilas, I make it vivid in my heart, and I want to feel also, to experience it. So otherwise, to be observer, it sounds for me like very neutral. So is this also then the third way?
Yeah, I didn't paint one or the other. I mean, if my lecture came across as this is right and this is wrong, I thought, no, it's a bit more subtle than that. But I only said it's like, if we are thinking that we are present there, we could mentally make an offering to Krishna. That's okay. But it's premature to start thinking Krishna taking initiatives towards us, because other than that he's eating what you've cooked or something that you can think about. But again, how far can we go in this imagination? But naturally, everyone thinks a little bit about the spiritual world or about Krishna, and we're not just thinking about a statue of Krishna, we're thinking about an active Krishna, and we're thinking about his activities. The cowherd boy pastimes are easy, right? But the gopi pastimes are complicated because of this conjugal element in there. So it is there especially that it becomes very complex. Lila Smaranam is something that is practiced in Vrindavan by certain Vaishnavas, but it's not recommended to do so too early in one's spiritual life, to go very deep in that, in that meditation of myself in Vrindavan, in these eternal pastimes. But a little is natural, because we all natural think like that. When we worship our deities, it's a little more than just, okay, here's the statues, here's the deities. No, here's Krishna, and he's alive, and this altar is Vrindavan, and he is, it's not difficult to sort of see modern Mahan walking with their cows, right? Like the way they stand there, I can see it, it doesn't take much for my mind to add some motion to that view. And then what, And then Radharani wants some fruits from a tree, and Krishna has to go and pick them. But Krishna picks the wrong fruits. They're not ripe, It's like Krishna tries this one, that one, and she points that one. Krishna picks. This is not the right fruit, Krishna said, look, I'm a cowherd boy, I know about milk, not about fruits. I'm not a fruit vendor. So then he pushes with his lotus foot the branch down, and she holds the branch and he says, pick one yourself if you're so expert. Then she is about to pick the fruit, and Krishna lifts his lotus foot, and the branch throws her through the air. I can see it right here. Yeah. So we cannot just. It's not that I'm saying here is the deities, and as soon as we sort of, the mind wanders a little bit towards Vrindavan, that there is a no entry sign, right? A big red shield with no entry. Don't let your mind go to this Vrindavan. Not like that. But I pointed out, stay on the path, right? I mean, follow the shields on the path, Otherwise, you get lost in the forest. It's our main focus is here. The dimension is there, but our main focus is to actually do it here on the ground, right? Because it's wonderful. Vrindavan, 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 and meanwhile, it's a mess here. That's not Vrindavan. There's no mess in Vrindavan. It's spotless, spick and span, as they say, because they maintain their groves, the gopis, with great dedication. So we also have to maintain our grove right here, our service, whatever it is. For you, it's here. For me, it's right now, New York. New York City. But New York's also Vrindavan. Radhe Radhe. Anyway, it's the Chaitanya Charitamrita that took us here today to this intimate discussion. And so I decided, okay, I'll roll with it. I'll go along with that and open up Pandora's box for you. But the Greek legend says once Pandora's box is open, it's very hard to put the lid back onto it. That's the problem with Pandora's box, but I'll try. And still, that's what we have to do to an extent, you know. Some lid has to be there. We cannot just prematurely go completely on that side, because you have a lot to do here and make it really perfect here. Chant really good rounds, read the books and clean the temple and worship the deities and develop the preaching and, and it's there where we'll meet Krishna and the gopis, more so than in our mind. And Rameshwar used to produce a Sankirtan newsletter, and then at one point he started to, in the newsletter, explain that just like the gopis were always eager, are always eager to bring others to Krishna, particularly Radharani is trying to bring other gopis to Krishna like this. We are also trying to bring others to Krishna. And then Prabhupada said, you have understood. Right? Means like you've understood what we're doing actually, what we're really doing. So one time I was in Vrindavan and there was a big festival and it was, I think it was for Sant Panchami. I think all the deities were in yellow on that day and it's very beautiful. So I was visiting all the temples, and as I was visiting all the temples, I noticed that I was the temple president in Vrindavan at the time. And I noticed that all the local leaders of their temple, they were all on the altar of their temple, right? And they were all like really involved in worshiping their deities. And then I was thinking, and I'm just going around looking at all the other temples, but maybe I should also be on the altar of our temple, right? And make it happen. So, yes, we must make it happen where we are. And then the whole spiritual world will be revealed. So we gotta make Goloka Dham happening here. Yes, Madan Lasa.
Since you were mentioning these days Radha Madan Mohan often, I wanted to ask, can you give us some inspiration? What is like the most important in deity worshipping, and how can we go?
The most important is to have love for the deities. But if you don't have that, then you can serve them out of duty. And then, we have this thing about cleanliness, punctuality, simplicity, the three principles Prabhupada gave, and then just that we are trying to serve Krishna through the proper standards. One thing that we see in Vrindavan and in India in general is that worship of deities is not just about worshipping the deity very nicely according to Pancharatrika or Vedic principles, but one really important point is to share the deities. To share the deities with others. Dhanam, what is it? Gosh. Dana, Patigaha. Anyway, it doesn't come. But yes, it is to worship the deity and to give the deity to others. Therefore, part of deity worship is to have huge festivals. And India is the country where they have really gone into this. Like they have palanquins, right? Where they carry the deity around. And then the deity are on the palanquins, and then they have palanquin carriers who do different steps. They do horses, and they do elephants. Right? And they have different walks, and then the deity, and they have different palanquins also. Where for the elephant one, they have a swing. So then they walk like the elephant, and the deity is swinging. And then for the horses, so every temple has these things, They have a palanquin like a swing, and the carriers learn to carry the deity in a special way. Oh, there's no end to it. And this place is great. We used to do sometimes some things like that on Jamastami, I remember, in the garden. Yes. So wonderful festivals is something that we could develop so that we can share Radha Madhava Mohan widely everywhere. That you see in Vrindavan. That is Vrindavan. Always a festival. That's the spiritual world. That's Goloka Dham. Every word a song, every step a dance. Okay, well, I thank you for letting me take so much of your time. So again, I think somehow or other we've been speaking about the Ganges. We have also today spoke about the Ganges. We naturally flow towards Krishna. Naturally, some thoughts come of us being with Krishna, and it is that's okay. That's also there. It has its limitations. I try to explain, and we must return to what's on the ground, which is a little difficult, you see, because on the ground it's sort of hard work, right? But we cannot just escape in a pink Krishna cloud, and just live there, and then just in our beautiful little Krishna world. And no, that was not Prabhupada. Prabhupada made people deal with struggle it out with the material energy, and he's very demanding in that regards. And that's still there. So you have to do something here. Also, really something here to make Krishna more manifest to the people and to ourselves. With that, I thank you and say goodbye to you now. And it was nice to be with you. I enjoyed it. There's, here's the picture. And these days, since flying is difficult, and since Danda must travel, our Suhotra Swami said, so I have bought a car. And it has German plates, so I might come by more often this year. And since you're sort of in between other areas where I go, it's a natural stop. So if you allow me, I'll come again after some time.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
More often the better.
If you want, you could even delay a little bit your departure and stay for the Sunday lecture.
Yeah, I could, but I think I should not eat everything. I should let someone else also. I get enough opportunity to lecture. I give so many lectures. So someone else who lives here with the trees and says, "Good morning, tree. How are you, bird?" It is nice if such a person also gets the chance to preach to some spirit souls in human bodies. So I leave it to locals. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai.